We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. From error to error, one discovers the entire truth. One day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. A man should not strive to eliminate his complexes, but to get into accord with them. They are legitimately what directs high conduct in the world. Just as no one can be forced into belief, so no one can be forced into unbelief. The virtuous man contents himself with dreaming that which the wicked man does in actual life. The only person with whom you have to compare yourself is you in the past. The voice of the intellect is a soft one, but it does not rest until it has gained a hearing. Ultimately, after endless rebuffs, it succeeds. This is one of the few points in which one may be optimistic about the future of mankind. The interpretation of dreams is the royal road to a knowledge of the unconscious activities of the mind. Thought is action in rehearsal. Friendship is an art of keeping distance while love is an art of intimacy. In the small matters trust the mind, in the large ones the heart. Time spent with cats is never wasted. People do not really want freedom, because freedom involves responsibility and most people are frightened of responsibility. A layman will no doubt find it hard to understand how pathological disorders of the body and mind can be eliminated by mere words. He will feel that he is being asked to believe in magic. The first human who hurled an insult instead of a stone was the founder of civilization. The more perfect a person is on the outside, the more demons they have on the inside. The ego is not master in its own house. Love and work, work and love. That's all there is. The conscious mind may be compared to a fountain playing in the sun and falling back into the great subterranean pool of subconscious from which it rises. Public self is a conditioned construct of the inner psychological self. We are what we are because we have been what we have been, and what is needed for solving the problems of human life and motives is not moral estimates but more knowledge. One day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. Being entirely honest with oneself is a good exercise. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. Most people do not really want freedom, because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. Out of your vulnerabilities will come your strength. Where does a thought go when it's forgotten? A woman should soften but not weaken a man. He that has eyes to see and ears to hear may convince himself that no mortal can keep a secret. If his lips are silent, he chatters with his fingertips, betrayal oozes out of him at every pore. Religious doctrines are all illusions, they do not admit of proof, and no one can be compelled to consider them as true or to believe in them. Religion is an attempt to get control over the sensory world, in which we are placed, by means of the wish world, which we have developed inside us as a result of biological and psychological necessities, but it cannot achieve its end. Its doctrines carry with them the stamp of the times in which they originated, the ignorant childhood days of the human race. Its consolations deserve no trust. Experience teaches us that the world is not a nursery. The ethical commands, to which religion seeks to lend its weight, require some other foundations instead. For human society cannot do without them, and it is dangerous to link up obedience to them with religious belief. If one attempts to assign to religion its place in man's evolution, it seems not so much to be a lasting acquisition, as a parallel to the neurosis which the civilized individual must pass through on his way from childhood to maturity.